if we think about fears, and this water crossing down here would not be a fear to any horse here if he didn't have a rider on him. Horses are just like humans. If I'm totally in control of my life, I'll do a lot of stuff. But if somebody comes in and starts trying to control me, I'm hesitant about things. I'm hesitant about accepting things because I know if I'm doing something new and challenging and uncertain, if I'm in 100% control of my faculties, I know I can get through it, and I know I can bail if I need to, or I can continue on, but I can adjust the level of pressure that I need. But when another person comes in and starts trying to manipulate you to do things, you're more hesitant to do it, right? Well, the horse is the same way. There's not a horse here that within just a matter of a few minutes would just went right on through that water to start with. But when the human kicks in the game, the human says, do this and this and this, and I'm not going to let you do this, and I'm not going to let you do that. Well, the horse is kind of, for him to trust you to do that, he's kind of handing over a lot of his playing cards to trust you to do it. So if we help the horse and we get through it, and we'll use Brian's horse as an example, as we help the horse gets through it, and the horse comes out the other end, and is still in his faculties enough to think about, what did I just do? And that horse is in the right state of mind that when he comes out the other end, he's not panicked, he's not, hyperventilating, his anxiety hasn't blown out the top, he's not in a survival mode, that he processes what just happened. But on the other side of the coin, and we'll use your horse that jumped the water, or jumped the ditch over here, when that horse jumped from here to the cement over there, he landed, and she's thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to crash through them and crash into the trees, so he gets hit with the bit pretty abruptly. Well, when the horse lands, that's what he thought about the next time. He says, it's not the water the issue, it's what I got hit with when I got over there, when he started the second time, and then the third time, and the fourth time. Well, actually, what will happen is that'll get to a point where the horse says, I'm not going to do it because I know what's going to happen. And if we think about it, if I put an electric fence right here, you can't see it. But every time you came by here, you got shocked. How many times would it take you before you started walking around the barn? 2 or 3 times. And you're like, I ain't doing it. I'm just not going to take it. Well, that's the same thing as what that horse goes through. We can take, and we'll use him as an example. I had a jumper trainer over in Raleigh call me one day, says, I'm working with a horseman, just can't get things figured out. I said, what's going on? And she says, every time the horse jumps and he lands, he bolts. I says, oh, I says, what do you do? Well, I'll try to keep him from bolting. All right? So to try to keep him from bolting is doing what? Hitting him with electricity, right? So he jumps and he thinks, I'm getting ready to get shocked. So he bolts even harder trying to run through it. And the next time it's even harder and even harder. And finally he's just like at his wit's end. But he had been jumping long enough that the jump isn't what was scaring him. It was what was waiting on the other side. So she calls me, so I go and visit with her, and I says, so now when he lands, the only thing you can pull on is his mane. And she's like, what? And I was like, where's he going? You're in an enclosed arena. He's got nowhere to go. Just let him go. So he jumps, he hits the ground, he bolts, and she just rides him. And probably 50, 75 feet after the other side, she picks up one rein and real easy brings him back around in a circle. Slows him back down to a nice trot, and they come around and approach the jump again. They jump, he bolts just a little less. So real easily she picks up and brings him around to the circle. And by the time they had jumped that jump the 6th or 7th time, it was a little small. I mean, this was like probably a 0.75 meter jump. Not a big jump at all. But after 5 or 6 or 7 jumps, the horse landed and continued at a trot. So the electricity that he kept hitting that horse and hitting that horse and hitting that horse finally went away. And then the panic went away, so then the horse just got quieter. And she began to understand. Now later I talked to her and she said, well, he's gone back to doing it. Now what do y'all think happened? Do you think that horse says, no, this will get me out of this and will get me sold if I just start bolting out of the jumps? And we've got to go back and think from the perspective of the horse, how I can save this or how I can make it worse, or what I do to make it worse that we don't even understand. So let's think about, when we think about the fears, the mud, the water crossings, logs, anything that creates a little anxiety for the horse is how is it finished up. And when we were working obstacles yesterday, that was the biggest thing that I drove to people, like in the noodle curtain. As the horse goes through the noodle curtain, what's the last place to get spanked for this horse as he's going through? His butt. So those noodles, you know, they come down and they go bam, right onto his butt. Well, to him, there's trolls hiding in there. Those trolls just reached up and grabbed him. So the first couple of times that horse scoots through, you know how Shay did? So then I said, you know, let the horse scoot through, he'll figure it out and come back through. Fourth or fifth time, they feel that, and it's like, well, I don't know what it is, but they aren't trolls because they didn't eat me. So the horse just gets quieter and quieter about going through those. It's what they're met with on the other side that makes it pleasant or makes it unpleasant. And if whatever we make, if we make it unpleasant, we're creating an issue either to accomplish the task or to finish the task in a good frame of mind, and then a halt.